Hi, friend. Welcome to another episode of Permission to Elevate. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful to you for being here, for watching this if you're checking it out on YouTube, for listening to it if you're listening on Spotify, and just for, man, not only being in my world, but in being in your life, in showing up for yourself by just tuning into content that makes you feel good and that helps you to become the best version of yourself. Like, spend a little bit of time today and just appreciate yourself for how much work you're putting into living your best life. Because there's a lot of people who just sort of float, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it really is to be commended when you're actively working on making your life better. So, good work. Today, I want to talk about authenticity. I want to talk about connection. I want to talk about where the world is going and where I think that it's going to always come back to, and the struggles that I have around being 100% me at all times, showing up as 100% me at all times. Maybe you can relate to the stories that I'll tell you about myself, to the stories that I'll tell you about a recent client that I've worked with. And yeah, this conversation, I realized as I was mapping it out a little bit, it doesn't really tie up with a pretty bow where I have amazing advice for you. And it's like a mic drop at the end. And I'm like, you know, go out and be your most authentic self because this is how I do it. And here are the 5 steps. It's just a conversation. It's just a conversation around questions that I have and maybe questions that you have too. So thank you for joining me in this conversation. I had a session with a client yesterday, and we were talking about her business, which is a health business. And, it's her mission to sell really healthy products to people to help them lose weight and to be at their best health. And her experience with these products that she sells was amazing. She lost like a ton of weight. She had this amazing story about how she lost all of this weight. And because of that, she was super passionate about selling these products to other people. But she was feeling really inauthentic because since she had lost the weight, she had gained some of it back. She had gained quite a bit of it back, and then she had lost a little bit more, and she felt like she was in this constant battle with herself around her own weight. And so what that created in her life and in her business was this sense of insecurity, was this sense of inauthenticity in the way that she was coming across, in the way that she was talking about the products, in the way that she was talking about, like, how could she really talk about how wonderful these products were, how amazing they worked, how fantastic they were, how much other people need them, when she truly believed that and she knows that those products worked. But she herself, in this particular moment of her life, was not living in this healthy lifestyle. She was not taking steps every single day. She was taking the steps, but she wasn't, she was messing up sometimes, right? She would fall off the wagon, as we say, when it comes to dieting. And in the conversation we had, it was so interesting because I realized as I was coaching her that I'm pretty sure that every single woman on the planet has had these feelings, if not has them all the time, around wanting to be healthy, wanting to feel good in our bodies, wanting to feel confident when we leave the house, wanting to feel confident when we're choosing the clothes in our closet, feeling like they fit us well, and feeling like as we're walking down the street, we're not constantly having to adjust our clothing or whatever to fit us. Feeling like the size of our clothes is a certain size that we want it to be, feeling like when we are out with other people and we're looking around at a crowd of people and we're comparing ourselves as we do, that we are able to feel good about who we are and how we look and how we ultimately feel. We've all felt that way. We've all wanted health. There is a whole spectrum of what each of us actually does, the steps that we take in our lives every single day to achieve that level of health, right? Some people don't do anything and they completely let their bodies go and they are not in control of their health at all right now. And other people are in complete control and they are absolutely, fueling their bodies with nutritious food, exercising all of the time. But no matter where you are on the spectrum, there's slipping up. Whether it's big slipping up or small slipping up, there's always these sensations of like, I fell off the wagon today, and decisions around whether you're going to get back on tomorrow, decisions around whether you're going to get back on next week, decisions around whether you're going to get back on after the holidays, decisions around what kind of new diet is going to work for you, what's the new thing that you're going to try, excuses around what I have tried before and how it hasn't worked, and I just need a Peloton, I just need a Beachbody account, I just need this supplement or this type of food or this cookbook or this health coach or it's so much noise in our heads around food, around our health, around our bodies, around how we feel in all of that stuff. And here's this woman who has this massive mission that she wants to help people to feel their best. But she's terrified to get out there and talk about the fact that she has these feelings that sometimes she's slipping up. She has these feelings that sometimes she wants to have a cocktail with her husband, but it makes her gain 3 pounds. And, then she's working for 3 weeks after that to get it off. She has this feeling around she wants to have a chocolate chip cookie and she lets herself and she enjoys it and she's conscious and mindful while she's eating it and she's thanking the chocolate chip cookie for being in her life and for nourishing her body and doing all of the things right and yet feeling so defeated all of the time, feeling so defeated that she can't just live a life where she's able to do whatever she wants, eat whatever she wants, move her body or not move her body. She feels trapped in the way that she wants to look and the way that she wants to feel. She refuses to buy a bigger size of clothing. She has a closet full of super cute clothes that she just wants to wear and feel good about wearing. And she feels trapped in the fact that she wants to help other women get healthy. But she doesn't feel like she is doing that from an authentic place because she's messing up on a regular basis. The conversation we had was, what woman isn't? Who's, and man for that matter, who's not messing up on their health journey? Who's not messing up in life? In their jobs or in their businesses, in their relationships, as parents, as partners, as children, as humans? Who is not feeling like they're constantly messing up? And yet when we're trying to sell products or services to people, we're truly having this mission on our hearts around wanting to help people, really wanting to help people, we feel like we can't be free to say that we mess up. I experience this as a coach all of the time, all of the time. When I'm not feeling my best, when I don't feel like getting in front of a camera or getting in front of a microphone, when I'm feeling sad or depressed or anxious or upset about something, when I'm feeling down on myself, when I'm feeling fat, when I'm feeling, like things are going wrong in my life and in all of these different ways, I tell myself stories around I can't show up. I can't show up online being just me, talking in a more monotoned voice where I'm not like hyping people up and talking to them about their potential and that they should really, go after their dreams. I feel like I can't show up and say, I'm having a really bad fucking day. I can't show up and say, I'm in desperate need of a coach, of a therapist, of someone who I can talk through my problems with. Because I'm a coach. I'm supposed to know these things. I'm supposed to have it all figured out. It's the same thing with my client who feels like she can't talk to her clients, talk to her potential clients, talk to her customers, talk to the leaders in her business around how she's eating chocolate chip cookies and drinking cocktails because that's not the way. Like, that's not the path. Who's going to buy health products from somebody who eats chocolate chip cookies? Just like I tell my story, who's going to want to hire a coach who shows up and says, I'm having a really shitty day? So we're all only showing up when we're feeling good. And for some of us, we're able to put on enough of a mask, enough of a filter, enough of a front, really, to where we can show up a lot more often, to where we can show up practically every day, regardless of how we're feeling, because we're able to sort of put that mask on and put the front up and put on the face and still show up regardless of how we're feeling. And there's others of us, like me, who really have a hard time putting on any sort of a face if I'm not feeling it, if I'm not really feeling like, if I'm not feeling like I'm inspiring my own self in my own life. I have lots of stories around how am I going to inspire anybody else? Who's going to want to be inspired by me? And yet there are so many of us out there who are experiencing these feelings, that we can't show up as our authentic selves, that we can't show up in the mistakes that we make, that we can't show up talking about the things that we struggle with, that we have to be these perfect humans, these robotic humans who do everything right in order for people to buy from us, to trust us, to want to follow us, to want to be part of our lives. When you really think about it, though, the people who love us the most are the people who know us best, who know us in all of our ins and outs, who know us through our hard times, who know that sometimes we have that chocolate chip cookie or that cocktail or whatever, who know that sometimes we feel depressed even though we dedicate our lives to coaching other people through their depression. The people who know all the sides of us are the people who love us the most. So why are we so afraid to show all of our sides to everyone, to the world? Why are we so afraid to show up, to continue to show up on a good day, on a medium day, on a really shitty day? Sure, it's probably true that like if we're having a ton of really bad days, there's going to be people who, not everyone wants to see that every day. Not everyone wants to see somebody showing up as a downer. But I think people do want to see the authenticity of us just being us in our natural environments. My friend Renee is teaching a lot on her YouTube channel and on her Instagram and in all of the places about the blue zones right now, which are these I think it's 5 different zones in the world, different areas where people just tend to live really long lives. They tend to have less cancer, less dementia, less of all of the things that make people die earlier in other communities, quite frankly. Like, these people are living these super long, healthy lives. And it's like these little anomaly communities where it's like, what? They're being studied and they're called the blue zones. And they're figuring out, like, what are they eating in these places? What do these places all have in common? What are their lifestyle habits? What are the things about these places that are creating these super healthy lives for people, or allowing them to create these super healthy lives for themselves? And in addition to the foods that they eat and the amount of movement of their bodies and the clean air, there's a really important element of community and connection with others, connection with other humans on a regular basis. We as a society are seemingly losing a lot of that just by the nature of technology playing a bigger part in our lives now, because of the pandemic, because of artificial intelligence, because of, the fact that robots are eventually going to take over for our romantic partners and like whatever. There's so much technology now that it makes my head spin. It's hard to keep track of, but it doesn't take away from the fact that humans innately need connection with other humans. Not only do we need it in terms of like, oh, it makes us feel really good, we need it in terms of like actually living longer, healthier lives. Like, it's proven. I've seen endless studies around the loneliness epidemic and around how that actually creates more disease and more disharmony in the body than doing really unhealthy things that we do, eating really unhealthy foods, smoking, sitting on our asses all day. Like, loneliness is more dangerous than anything. But when we are all out there trying to show up as our best selves, and only as our best selves, putting the cutest photos of our families on our Instagram and Facebook profiles, filtering ourselves in every way, only showing up to spread our messages to the world when we're feeling our best, or when we feel like we look okay, or when we feel like we're in an okay mood. I think what that's creating is more disconnect. I think that's creating more separation between us. Because I've also heard from endless clients about how they're comparing themselves constantly to these perfect, I'm using air quotes if you're not watching the video of this, these perfect people online who are growing these magical businesses and making millions and having these perfect relationships and having these beautiful children run around and living in mansions and hanging out by pools and going on vacations. And like, it's fine that those people are showing up and wanting to only show those pieces of their life. But for some who are watching them, they're not able to discern and say like, okay, this is just their best. This is just their best. It doesn't mean that they don't have bad days. It doesn't mean that they don't have bad moments. It doesn't mean that they don't fight with that super attractive partner. It doesn't mean that they don't lose their patience with those beautiful children. It doesn't mean that they don't have struggles with money, struggles with happiness, struggles with their family dynamics. Like, I'm grateful that for some reason, I am able to see that those perfect people are just people. And I think that I can attribute that to the fact that I actually know some of those people personally, and I know their struggles, and I know who they are at the core. And so I know that they're not perfect. But for people who don't know that and who are just looking at these people as like, they've got it all together, why can't I get it all together? They're having so much success with their business, why can't I? They're, working out, eating healthy salads, they're super fit, looking, smoking hot all the time, like, why can't I figure it out? I think what that's doing is creating disconnection in our world. I think it's creating separateness. And let me be very clear. I'm not blaming people who show up in that picture perfect way for creating the separateness. It's the people who see them and choose to see them as perfection rather than choosing to see that they're only showing the best side of themselves. This is something I am still really struggling with because I have this deep down desire to show up no matter what and to show up like really authentically and to just show up as totally me and not only just show up on the good days, not show up only when I'm feeling like I have something to offer, but understanding that I have something to offer every single day and that I can show up in whatever form I'm in and that I'm worthy and deserving and that I can have an impact on people regardless of how positive I feel that day. But I'm still not there. Like, I have this desire to be there and I'm still not able to just like put it all out there on the table and, show up crying when I'm crying, show up ugly when I'm ugly, like show up in all the ways. And so I wish I had more of a solution for you if this is something that you're struggling with in terms of like, here's how you show up authentically all the time and people need to hear your message regardless of how you're feeling. Like, get out of your own head and show up for other people and show up to serve and don't worry about your thoughts around worthiness or imperfection or any of that, but I'm still struggling with it. I think what I can offer is that I truly believe as time goes on, as the internet becomes more and more of a way of connecting, as technology continues to sort of play a bigger and bigger and bigger part in our lives, I truly believe that the need for human connection is never going away. I truly believe that we will always need to find ways to stay even more connected than we are right now. We're connected very well through video. We can make a quick video call to anybody we want from across the ocean. Like, it's an incredible time to be able to live anywhere you want in the world. For example, I live in Spain and my family's in the United States, and I can pick up the phone anytime I want, as long as it's within the hours that they're awake, and see their faces and see how they're doing. And like, that's amazing, and it creates amazing connection. But I also think as technology advances, we're going to also advance in our need and our desire and our want for real human realness, real human connection, like real just being real with each other, having intimate conversations, having intimate connections, growing intimate relationships, being able to actually physically hug each other, creating like just true, real intimacy and connection in every way possible. And I think that one of the ways that we can start doing that is by showing up more authentically, by showing up on the bad days, by putting the things out there that don't paint the best picture of ourselves. I was trying to help this client through what she was going through in terms of like, you know, she's struggling with, how can I eat a chocolate chip cookie and then tell people that they can't eat chocolate chip cookies if they want to lose weight? Like, she's like, that's truly what I believe. What I believe is they can't eat chocolate chip cookies if they want to lose weight. And here I am with a chocolate chip cookie in my hand. It's this imposter syndrome that we've labeled it as, right? Like, who are we to tell somebody that this is the way that they need to live their lives when we are not authentically living in that truth every single minute of every single day? And I don't know that exact answer, but I just have this gut feeling like, I don't know how she has a chocolate chip cookie in her hand while she's telling people they can't eat chocolate chip cookies, because she truly believes that you can't lose weight eating chocolate chip cookies. And I think we all know that you can't lose weight eating chocolate chip cookies. But I also know that every single human on this planet slips up, whether they're the pinnacle of health or not. And people can relate to that. And people want to hear that they can be healthy and have a chocolate chip cookie every once in a while. People want to hear that they don't have to be perfect in order to make efforts to take care of themselves every single day. That they can have that cookie in one moment and a salad in the next, and it doesn't make them any worse of a person, and it doesn't make them a failure, and it doesn't mean that they are doomed. It's life. So I would love to hear from you all on this. How do we show up as our most authentic selves? How do we create intimate connections with people? How do we show up and just tell the truth and still strive to be our best? How do I show up as a coach, recording a podcast, recording a video on whatever platform I choose to record it on one day, telling people, you know, that they've got to go after their dreams. If the next day I'm curled up in a ball under a blanket on my couch, like not wanting to move, let alone inspire. How do we make being human okay? And how do we do that, especially when we're trying to create these businesses around being our best, around health, around having better relationships, around growing as a person, around creating thriving businesses? Like, the truth is if we want these amazing things in our lives, we have to do amazing things and we have to be amazing people in order for those things to happen. Like, we have to be on the top of our game. But it's also okay to just be human. How do we normalize something that every single one of us experiences? but none of us want to talk about. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Leave me a comment here if you're listening on Spotify, if you're watching on YouTube. If you see a little bit of a promotion for this on any other channel, any other social network, and you listen to this, leave me your thoughts. I really want to start conversations around this. I know I didn't offer a ton of super valuable advice today, but I think it's an important conversation that I'm happy to have just started maybe for some of you. So again, let me know. Leave me your thoughts. And until the next time, I'm sending you so much love and cheering you on.
Hey, thanks again for listening to this episode of Permission to Elevate. This is not the only free resource I have for you. Head over to kellyjennifer.com for more and make sure to follow me at I am Kelly Jennifer on Instagram too. In the meantime, I'll just be over here cheering you on. Talk soon.